So I remember 1 or 2 Black Fridays ago, on one particular account, we had some CBOs. We were pushing at 30K a day, and we were trying to get even more spend. This is now later on in the day on the Black Friday, 4 or 5 p.m. We just couldn't get Facebook to spend more. And we weren't really confident of running other strategies. And what I want to make sure is that you're aware of these other strategies that you can run as well. Now, if we think about spend more, the most common one that we've used in the past has been H scaling, but there's also country scaling. There's also audience scaling as well. So H scaling is literally spending more by duplicating campaigns. So this has been bread and butter for the last 4 or 5 years, hasn't been as successful this year on the majority of the accounts that we've tried this on. So the problem with this is when you take an account, so H scaling is horizontal scaling. So you've got a campaign here, you duplicate it. When you duplicate campaigns, especially when you're running CBO, that campaign is holding so much history. So what we end up doing is then duplicating ad sets. And that also has been a bit hit and miss. But as a strategy, when you can get it right, it can allow you to bump up your spend. So for example, I spoke to someone, I don't know if he's on the call today. I spoke to someone earlier this week about where he was at. And I think one of the campaign was spending maybe 200, 300 pounds a day. For me, if I want to scale that up rapidly and I have confidence in the data and things like that, H scaling would allow me to go into bigger budgets, 1,000 a day, 2,000 a day, but keeping an eye on performance and duplicating exactly what's there. Now, what some people will also do is to duplicate by making a change. With offline conversions, for example, you can right now upload your data and see the breakdown reports. And hopefully some of you have seen that by now. So when you look at your data, you can see, I can see that these counties or these states or these placements or the platforms are working better for me, so that when you do your H scale, you're taking away some of that. So for example, recently I had a look at one of the campaigns we're overseeing, and although the website pixel couldn't show us it when we put the offline conversions in, it was showing that about 90, maybe 95% of revenue was coming through Facebook. The spend, although Instagram wasn't that much, it was still, Facebook's still speculating. Do I do it on Facebook? Do I do it on Instagram? So if I'm duplicating that campaign, guess what? I'm going to duplicate and just do Facebook only. And then I might go and take the Instagram campaign and do a separate test on it. But I can see, at least from that data, that Facebook is generating the most revenue and Instagram's not really doing that well for us. There are many reasons. Maybe the audience doesn't interact as well with Instagram, or more than likely, our creative just wasn't as good for Instagram as well. So when you're duplicating campaigns, you can dupe by straight copy. You can dupe with copy plus change. So they're the things to have in your toolkit when you are coming into that period where you do want to scale up. Now, bear in mind, I'm talking heavily about Black Friday. This could apply for any time when you want to scale a bit more aggressively as well. And H scaling, it is hit and miss. That's the thing. It's something which there isn't the same guarantee, and I wouldn't even say guarantee, but the high likelihood it's going to work as it might have done kind of pre-2020 onwards. So the duplications, let me just fix that typo. So you could duplicate the campaign, new campaign, or you can do ad sets, existing campaign. Now for this one, for example, if you're using CBO, it has less of an impact, because when you duplicate an ad set, Facebook won't always initially look to spend in that new ad set. If you want to force Facebook, you can introduce a minimum spend, or this, for me personally, the duplication works best at the ad set level when you're running ad set budgets. So if you're running, we'll call it ABO, duplicate ad set, change spend. Now, bear in mind, when you do this at the CBO level, your CBO will go back into learning because it's a significant change. The only time you do this, however, is if you've got good performance. So this is one thing I say about the learning phase is, yes, certain things do knock the campaign or the ad set back into learning, but it's less of a concern when you've already got good, stable performance and a good history. You wouldn't duplicate or scale up anything unless it's working. So the whole reason why you're scaling up, it should negate any concern around the learning phase. So just bear that in mind as well. So for example, you can duplicate and change the spend. In that case, if I'm setting a significantly higher budget, I'm having rules in place to kill anything that's really bad performance, but more than likely, because it's a concentrated time of the year, I'm looking at that myself. I want to make sure that, for example, when you duplicate certain things that can go wrong, you duplicate and your click-through rate's atrocious, like it's really bad, CPMs are really bad. You don't need to spend $100, $200, $300 to realize that's the case. You'll probably know that quite quickly. If that's the case, often I kill it and reduplicate. Or in the case where those front-end metrics look good, and the reason I use that more is in the ads reporting, that's the most reliable data right now. Then if I'm not seeing the same down funnel conversion points as I'm seeing in my main ad sets, then that might be another reason to consider killing it as well. Just to confirm here, if I'm duplicating, I prefer to do it with ad set budgets. If it's CBO, dupe works less effectively at the ad set level. So I just want you to understand this part of it. Can use min spend, but can not other good performing ad sets out of balance. It's surprisingly difficult to concentrate on getting the spelling right and talk at the same time, but there we go. So in terms of duplication, H scaling, that's one of the kind of most basic ones. Now, the other thing is country scaling is also another part of horizontal scaling. So for example, there's two sides of this. One is you've got the opportunity to sell in other countries, but you're not doing it yet because you just want to see, let's say, for example, I can't remember which campaign we were running, but we tested on UK and US first. We just knew that was our core market. When we saw some good performance, we literally just copied that into the top European markets. So that now included Germany and France and a few other places like that. So you can duplicate like that by having the same budgets, same ads. In our case, we did that with the same targeting, but in different countries. So immediately you can see how you're scaling up your spend. So not just taking what's already there and just spending more money on it, but you're actually expanding into countries. That has lower risk because especially if your product is something that can be sold in multiple products and you're starting in that stepped way.